it's Dr. SunAH Marie Laybourn. I'm here with Black Renaissance, and we're on Shifting the Paradigm.
Purchase your tracks today.
Welcome to another episode of Shifting the Paradigm, and we have the pleasure of joining us today, Miss Dr. SunAH Marie Laybourn.
Yes, I love it. Miss Doctor,
Yeah,
all right.
had to put it on there. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I have been trying to give you this dope introduction, but I mean, I couldn't consolidate all of it.
Well, I'm so excited to be here with you. It is really an honor to be chatting with you today, so I'm excited.
So just to start it off, right now you are the assistant professor in the Department of Sociology right here at the University of Memphis.
Yep. Here
Which
at the
is
University
actually
of
your alma
Memphis.
mater.
Yep.
Okay. When did you actually graduate from here?
From the University of Memphis, I graduated in 2005. See, I didn't know it was going to be a pop quiz. I'm like 2000. Yes, 2005. Yes.
That's all right. That's all right. And got your doctorate from the University of Maryland.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool because I actually have an aunt that was a counselor at the University of Maryland some years ago. Yes, ma'am. Yes. How cool is it right now to actually teach where you once went to school?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, to be back, right? To be back at, in my hometown, but then at my alma mater where I first really got introduced to sociology. So it's like a full circle moment to be back here. Okay. And then, to be with students who I can really relate to, right? So the majority of students at the University of Memphis are from the city of Memphis. Went to Memphis City Schools or Shelby County Schools, right? And that was my same experience. I went to, at that time, Memphis City Schools, right? K through 12. So to be able to know like where students are coming from, kind of the knowledge base that they're getting, and to be able to really I think supplement and also extend that knowledge, I think is really great to be able to give back to the community in this way.
I was just, like I said, the more I read up on you, the more I just became intrigued, and it was like, man, I'm finding out you got a podcast, you host of a radio show, and I also read that you were like a nightclub hostess at one point.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about that. What was that like?
It was unlike anything I'd ever done up until that point. So first, let me just say, some people, it's their experience where they go to clubs, when, they go to the teen clubs, and it's like a big part of, even when they're in undergrad, they're going to nightclubs, and that was never really my experience. I wasn't like a big partier. Okay. So for one, this was like, it's just something totally different for me in a lot of ways. But how it happened was I had wanted to go to grad school. I knew I wanted to be a professor, or at least I thought that's what I wanted to do. And I was applying to grad school, and I kept getting rejected. Year after year, kept getting rejected. Whoa. And I had really put my life on hold because I'm like, no, I'm gonna get my PhD. So even though I was working a job at that time with the Department of Children's Services and some other social work type jobs, I was like, but this is not what I'm gonna do, right? So I'm like, kind of putting off a lot of big decisions in my life because I'm like, I'm gonna go to grad school. But after a while, when you get so many rejections, you're like, okay, right, you get discouraged. I went through like depression. I was becoming an alcoholic, like legit when I look back on it, because I don't think it's normal that you drink a whole bottle of wine every single night. Like, I don't really think, like maybe some glasses, but not a whole bottle. So I was really going through it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, how can I like change my perspective? And it was like, your plan for your life is not happening, which guess what? That means you can do anything. Like right now you can do anything you want to do because that plan, like, baby girl, is not gonna happen. And so with that, I was like, okay, then I'm just going to whatever opportunities come my way, I'm gonna just say yes. And a girlfriend of mine called me at my job and was like, hey, they're reopening the Premiere. So if you're from Memphis, you had to know the Premiere. And she was like, they're hiring like 100 people. Like, let's go get a job. I don't know why she would think I would want to work at a club. Or why she would want, like, I don't even know at this point in time, like, why this was even on her mind. But I was like, okay, let's go. And like that day after work, went to the Premiere, which was transitioning into level 2. and put in an application. Y'all, I applied to be a bartender. I applied to be a dancer. If y'all know me, y'all know I can dance. I applied to be a host. Like, I just was like, just hire me. I need a job. And that's how it started. So I got hired to be a server, to serve drinks to folks in VIP. Quickly learned that was not gonna work for me. Like, you have to be able to walk and carry drinks at the same time. And I was like, I can't even do that. This is not gonna work. So I just kind of like made my way over into being a hostess, and I think I stole somebody's job, but it worked out in the end. And I worked at level 2 for 4 years.
Wow.
Ended up also coming up on another job. I told the owner, Curtis Givens, I was like, you should hire me as your assistant. And he did.
Awesome.
He did.
Look at that.
So, I mean, that's how I ended up working in nightlife.
You also host a radio show.
Yes.
It's called Let's Grab Coffee.
Yeah.
And I remember one of your episodes where you were talking about the rich history and legacy of Memphis music and how it actually inspired and formed and shaped people as well as other genres of music.
Yes.
How would you say that Memphis overall has shaped SunAH Marie?
Oh, wow. I mean, Memphis has been everything, right? I mean, your environment shapes so much about who you are. And one thing that I think as Memphians, as folks who grew up here really get is that grit and grind. Like that drive, that we have a confidence about ourselves. Like, we believe that we can do, like, we're gonna make it happen. And, for other folks who grew up here, that's how you probably feel. Like, when I say that, people are probably like, yeah, that's it. Like,
I just felt it.
Like, that's it. And so for me, Memphis has been everything in instilling just, I think, a pride in myself, but a confidence in myself, but also that attitude of like, ain't nobody gonna do it better. And I think that to me is what Memphis is. The city has been through so much in our history, but yet we are still here. And that's how I feel, even my own life. Like, so much has happened in my own life, but I'm still here. And I'm still going to every day, like, have that grind and that grit about myself.
Aside from being a radio host, you also have a podcast.
Yes.
This is your own personal podcast, right? Called I Love Monday.
Yes.
Now, me personally, I'm one of them people. Monday come around, I'm dragging my feet. I'm just, man, it's Monday. I hate Monday. So what makes Monday so special to you, and how did you come to that mindset?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, Monday is like, you hate it. Even Saturday and Sunday, you're already like, I don't, like, it's coming, Monday's coming, and I'm not here for it. And I just wanted to switch that perspective, because for me, Monday is like, a lot of people feel like it's the start of the week, right? And for me, that means you have a whole new start. Right? You can make the week whatever you want it to be. You can approach it however you want to approach it. If you feel like I hate Mondays, then Monday's probably going to be a drag for you. But if you feel like this is an opportunity for me to, create or make whatever I want, then you'll kind of approach it with a different perspective and a different type of ambition for the week. So that's what I Love Mondays means to me. But it's something that I apply to every day, right? Like, every day that you are blessed enough to wake up, you have the opportunity to decide how your day is going to go. So you wake up and already you're in a bad mood, like, that whole day kind of like follows suit. So for me, I Love Mondays was actually my pandemic project.
Wow.
Which is wild to think about because the pandemic, but I started I Love Mondays in August of 2020. So we were like in the thick of the pandemic and it was getting real, right? And I was kind of like losing my mind a little bit with the pandemic because I believe in science. So I was like, I'm gonna stay in my house. I know other folks were like, oh, it's, whatever I'm gonna do. Like, and it was really kind of like just a regular year for a lot of folks. But for me, I was like, again, I believe in science and I also want to protect the people around me. So I'm gonna stay in my house And like I said, I really was losing my mind a little bit because I was just in my house, and I was very cabin fever, disconnected from people. And I was like, no, I can't do, I have to get out of this mindset. And so that's how I Love Monday started. It was really me talking to me. Sometimes you have to be your own encouragement, and if other people benefit from that, that's awesome. But for me, it's I gotta minister to myself. I have to show up for myself every day. And that's what I Love Mondays came out of, because I was like, this is a moment. It happened to be a long moment, right? 2020 was a long moment, or the pandemic was a long moment, but I'm like, in the bigger scheme of things, it's just a moment. So how can I kind of leverage this moment to still get something positive out of it? And so I was like, I'm going to show up every Monday, and I gave myself, a time limit. I was like, I'm gonna just show up, let's just do it for 6 months. And if you like it, you're still committed, then let's continue. But if you're not, no pressure, right? No pressure. I think sometimes we can put too much pressure on ourselves, and then we psych ourselves out of the things that we want to do. So I like to give myself achievable goals, and I was like, 6 months. That's it. And if you don't like it, walk away. It's fine. No big deal. But now, we're closing in on another August, so soon it'll be a year of I Love Mondays. But again, it was just how can I share mindset reframes, goal-getting tips, and personal development advice? And again, it was really to keep me going. And that's how the podcast was born.
When you come on and I see you, I automatically light up and smile, because I know I'm finna hear it. It's my favorite day of the week.
Yes.
And I just start smiling. I'm like, man, I don't hate Mondays that much no more. So Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, switching gears a little bit, you yourself are you were adopted.
Yep.
And I was, kind of iffy about talking about it, but she was like, hey, I'm an open book. Let's talk.
Yes.
You're passionate about the adoption process and the ins and outs, the legalities and everything of it. What are some of your main focal points as far as what you do in the adoption community?
Yeah, so I was adopted from Korea when I was 6 months old. Adopted, by an American couple, a white American couple, and grew up, in Memphis. And so adoption is just my life, right? I am adopted. How people see my family, especially growing up, it's okay, something's going on here because my parents are white and I'm not white. So it's what's up? So that's why I'm I'm always open to talk about it, because it's been something I've kind of been forced to talk about, my entire life. Of course, not every adoptee feels that way, and that's our right to share or not share, just like anyone else. It's your right to be open or to remain private about your family life.
Right.
But for me, I do use it as a platform to talk about other issues. So race and ethnicity is a big part of my research as a sociologist, and with adoption in particular, that's one of my focus as well, because it's important for all of us to have a firm sense of our racial identity, especially because we do live in a racialized society. And so that part of ourselves is a big part of how other people see us and how other people treat us. And having a firm and confident sense of our own racial identity helps us navigate the world, right, in a better way, but also, with more confidence and in a healthy way, right? But another piece of what's really important to me within adoption is, specifically within international adoption, is adoptee citizenship rights. So what a lot of people don't know is that international adoptees have not always had automatic U.S. citizenship. So even though they were adopted, legally adopted by U.S., citizens, that citizenship did not transfer to their internationally adopted children. So what that means is that there are a lot of international adoptees who are now adults who do not have citizenship. And so to just break that all the way down, that means they are here as undocumented immigrants, right? And facing the legal realities of being in the U.S. as an immigrant without proper documentation.
Wow.
So, as you can imagine, that also means they are vulnerable to deportation.
Yeah.
And so a big part of what I was involved in when I was in the DC area in grad school was advocating for legislation to fix, right, the citizenship status of these vulnerable adoptees.
Okay.
So there are estimated maybe like 35,000 adoptees that potentially don't have citizenship, although the numbers are unclear for a lot of reasons, right? You probably don't want to come forward in most cases and say, yeah, I don't have citizenship, but I'm living here.
Yeah.
So the exact number is unknown, but thousands of adoptees without citizenship, and working towards a legislative fix towards that, and also just raising awareness so that people know about it and can potentially get involved, call their elected officials and say, we want to support, a bill towards fixing these citizenship rights.
Wow, I mean, you just do so much. I mean, where do you find the time?
When I wake up in the morning, every morning I wake up, even when I'm still laying in bed, I tell myself, like, today's gonna be a good day. Like, we're gonna have a good day today. That's how I talk to myself. Like, literally every morning I'm like, we're gonna have a good day. Today is gonna be a good day. So I already start, my mind off in that positive mindset.
Yes.
But also for me, it's probably no surprise, I have a lot of goals that I work towards. So professional goals, but also personal goals. And so I do write affirmations or mantras kind of every week to focus my mind on that personal development side. So right now for me, one of the mantras or one of the affirmations that I tell myself is like, I'm worthy and I deserve good things.
Wow. Okay.
And that might sound surprising based on like everything that I do, right?
Yeah.
You might think, oh, it's about a specific goal, a tangible goal or something professional. But I think for me, what I realize is that I have struggled with feeling worthy of all the good things in life, worthy of love, worthy of accepting,
Really?
even the accomplishments. And so for me, a big part of my own kind of like development or personal development is reminding myself like I am worthy and being able to accept all the good things in my life.
I see you posting workout videos on your story. I'm always watching. I'm like, man, she in the gym. She getting, man. I look at my gut. And I'm like,
No.
That's just motivation. So how do you find the time or make the time to continue to stay so fit and in shape?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's about what type of life do you want to live? And what I mean by that is like how much do you want to be able to enjoy life? How much do you ever want to be present in your life? And to me, working out is not just about the physical aspect, right? So of course, sure, that's one part, like you have to have some sort of mobility, maybe to do the things you want to do in life, whether that's like, run around, play with your kids, play sports just with your friends or whatever it is. But for me, it's more of, again, like that mental side. The gym to me is part of my therapy. Like that's the space where if I am feeling frustrated or I am feeling down, I get in that gym and I let it all go. I think a lot of times we have few times in our day where we are actually fully present. A lot of times we want to multitask, or we're daydreaming about something, or we're thinking in our mind, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or oh, I could have said this and that would have been better, or we're replaying arguments, right? We're winning in our mind.
I'm guilty of that.
But in the gym, for me, that's that moment where I am 100% present in the moment. Like I'm present in what I'm doing with my body. I'm present in how I'm breathing. I'm fully present. And that is very kind of like healing, but also invigorating to me to be fully present in the moment. And so working out to me is necessary. It's a non-negotiable, and it's for who I am in the present, but it's also for who I will be in the future because, of course, of those health benefits.
Awesome. Speaking of like present, future, if you could go in the past and meet yourself, let's say freshman year of high school, would you have any particular things you would say to yourself?
Oh my goodness, freshman year of high school, yes, I would say to myself, like, it's okay to make friends.
Okay.
And the reason why I think that's such an interesting time period you pick, because in high school, I went to Raleigh, Egypt, but in middle school, I went to Craigmont. And so part of why I made that switch was, well, a big part was I lost my optional transfer. So my grades were not up to par to continue to go to Craigmont on, that optional transfer, right?
Whoa.
And a big piece of that was because, middle school or junior high, however you want to call it, was a really hard time for me. Like, one, for a lot of adolescents, it's hard already because you're going through puberty, right? All these changes, but also because maybe your friend group is changing. And for me, like, all of that was happening. So, like, a new school, but also, and then, like, the whole, like, puberty, adolescent, just those general teenage type things. But also, at the end of elementary school, I had lost my mom. So it was like, still kind of like dealing with grief from really suppressing grief from losing my mom, then going to a new school, teenage, all that stuff. And so my grades suffered. Just like learning like, I think all my friends, or the people I think are friends, are not really my friends. And like, all kind of like middle school drama that seems like so intense at that time, right? And when I started high school, I was like, I don't want to be friends with anybody. Like, people are just so fake, like, all that. And I was really to myself. Like, I just was like, I don't really have time for any of this. So I think in that particular time of my life, I would be like, it's okay to make friends. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, everyone is not going to let you down like that, or everyone is not going to be fake, or, whatever. And that would be what I would say to myself at that point in time.
The people that may be watching that may not know who SunAH Marie is, would you like to mention any of the social media handles or platforms? Or,
well, of course, I Love Mondays with SunAH is the podcast. Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, it's on all streaming platforms. I Love Mondays with SunAH.
Okay.
So there are other podcasts that are I Love Mondays. So you got to put the I Love Mondays with SunAH, and you will find me. See, this is part of like the whole, I was like, just start the podcast, right? Like, just go. Because, sometimes we get hung up. We want everything to be perfect. And I was like, no, just go with I Love Mondays and just go with it. But I Love Mondays with SunAH, wherever you stream podcasts. Also on the radio, Let's Grab Coffee. As you mentioned, if you're in Memphis, you can listen 91.7 FM or on WYXR.org. And actually, Let's Grab Coffee is available in podcast format as well. So you can actually get that wherever you stream podcasts. I also have another podcast with my boyfriend. It's called Which Cup Is Mine? I think of it as the Ratchet Relationship podcast. So we talk about everything, and yet we are still together. So I mean, hey,
awesome.
But you can definitely learn some things. So Which Cup Is Mine on YouTube, and then wherever you stream podcasts as well. And then on Instagram, I'm at SunAH Marie only, and then you can see those workout videos too, and you can see what else is going on in my day.
SunAH, we just want to thank you so much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure and a treat to learn more about what you have going on and who you are as a person. So just thank you for taking time out to sit down with us and dive into your life a little bit.
Yes.
All right, peace.